Hello lovelies, it's looking a bit dark actually. How are we all? I'm late, but I have a very good reason. And part of that reason was that I had to do a complete about face on what I was going to cook because when I went to my cupboard, because I was going to cook a salmon crustless quiche, there were only 3 eggs. And I thought, oh, this is dud. So most of you know that I do not plan what I'm cooking. I honestly don't, although I had sort of looked and noted that there were eggs. So I was sort of happy about that. But anyway, as it turns out, I'm gonna try another brand new dish, which I think is gonna be really good. Hello, Melissa. And I think it's gonna be a winner. So I did do a quick Google of, what can I make? Because I've got this tin of salmon. Now the salmon's upside down. I'll show it to you in a minute because for some reason it's this slightly weird shape, like a vase. So it's bigger at the top than it is at the bottom, and you can't open it from the bottom. But it's some Atlantic wild salmon. So, as you know, I've been talking quite a bit about salmon and its omega-3 benefits. So I was thinking, oh, what am I going to make with this tin of salmon? Anyway, I found some salmon patties. And I thought, I've actually got, well, I didn't have all the ingredients, but I've got other ingredients that I can add into it. So here we go, lovely. So I'm doing salmon patty. So I've got this tin, it's 415 grams of salmon, and I'm actually now going to show you the tin. So I bought this. This is just from Woolies or Safeway, depending on which neck of the woods you're from. Can you see that? It's responsibly caught wild Alaskan salmon. So I thought, right, sounds pretty good. So I'm just putting this into a bowl, and I know tinned fish does have a slight cat food tendency, a bit of a cat food quality about it, but I'm sure by the time I'm finished it won't look anything like that. So I'm just quickly mushing that up. Now, how's this? I'm actually chopping an onion. And this is the other bit of my tragic news, is that I went to go and get out some frozen onion and there wasn't any. So I just need half a minced onion. Now I'm pretty sure that mincing means chopping it really small, but I'm rubbish at that. So I'm just going to chop it however I chop it. And hopefully my usually blunt knives are a bit better. So for those of you who have just joined, I am cooking something called salmon patties, but I was going to be cooking, crustless salmon quiche, because I've got this tin of salmon that I really wanted to use. Now, again, chefs, they do that. I don't know how to do that. So I'm just going to do a bit of extra chopping in my fairly coarse, diced thing. I'm sure if you had a super sharp knife, I'm sure if I had a super sharp knife, I would probably chop my finger off. Now I've got a great thing to talk about too as soon as I've stopped concentrating on mixing this together. So I'm just putting this half an onion in with my tin of salmon. And then, you ready for some weirdo ingredients? An avocado, which is absolutely amazing for me because I've got several avocados that need using. So I thought, wow, this clearly, look at that. Seriously, I need to go and buy a Tats Lotto ticket because that, my loves, is amazing. So I'm just gonna, have you seen this trick? So this was on the internet, how to get, because most people, they're trying to get the nut out of their avocado and they get their thing and they chop their hands off. Apparently, if you just push the bottom, it just, you ready? Mind blown. Pops out completely clean. So there you go. There, how to do now. I was about to trick and do that. That is how you chop your hand off. So I'm just going to grab a spoon because this is how you scoop out your avo. Like that's it. So easy. Nothing's chopped. No dead fingers. No knives in hands. Hand surgeons are being put out of business as we speak. So, right, so I've just plopped them in, and then I've got this really good, it's a scraper, but it's quite a firm one, so it's also quite a good chopper for soft stuff like avos or you know, I just chopped in some tinned salmon there. So I'm just going to mush that in. Stir that through. Now, there's a couple of other things that are supposed to be in it. Oh, I forgot the salt. I'll just run and grab my salt. And I'm actually going to grab my mingle. Okay, so I have just got a little bit of salt to go in it. And because I really like salmon and dill, the old, what is it, dill and garlic thing from Mingle, which I quite like, goes well with salmon. In fact, we use truckloads of it because I have a salmon eating daughter who I reckon eats salmon probably every day or at least every second day. So I just put a bit of Mingle in. Now, a couple of secret ingredients. Hemp seeds. So half a cup. I had to go and dig a cup out because I really don't, you know, I never use cups, but I thought I would. So half a cup of hemp seed. If you don't have hemp seed, you could use almond meal or almond flour. That would be perfectly fine. And 2 eggs. So as you know, somebody, I can't remember who posted about it, somebody bought these beautiful Mornington Peninsula eggs on their, at their supermarket. Now, Lee's saying, if you wrap an avo in baking paper and place it in the fridge, they will last at least 2 weeks. Wow, she tried it. That's fantastic. Also tried it with an eggplant. Great, great. So, oh, now I've got another secret ingredient. So as you know, I can never just get a recipe and go, yeah, all right, I'll follow that to the exact thing. So this is based off somebody's recipe, but I've altered it so much that I can't even remember who they are that I'm just gonna call it my own. Their one had almond flour. Oh, okay. Round of applause for Lucy. She has grated her own Parmesan. So this, you know how every now and then I get on and say, listen, you know, if you want to grate your own cheese, go for it. Well, today I feel like I need a medal because I actually have. So I reckon I'm just going to put about half a cup in. What I'm going to do is actually get it out of the thermi and stick it in a bag in the fridge. But I was so pleased with myself that I thought I'd just show you straight away. All right, so I've put in half a cup of Parmesan. So 2 eggs, 1 tin of salmon, 1 avocado, half a cup of hemp seed or almond meal if you want to. And we'll go see how we go. And an avocado. And some egg to bind it all together. And I'm just going to put on my thing. God, I don't know what's going on there, but my thing's a bit dirty. I won't show you. Now, before we get started, well, while we're getting started, there was a study released today, or yesterday probably, by Monash. And it was in the news, it's in all the newspapers, you've probably seen it. Who saw it? Did anyone see that study today? Well, I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. What I want to do is just get this mushed. Feeling quite posh. I've got 2 implements tonight, the spoon and the thingy. I'm sorry it's a bit dark in Facebook land. Normally you know, on your phone, you're meant to put the camera up bright so it's a little bit brighter, but I forgot to do that in my haste to quickly come up with a new dish, because I actually had everything ready for this salmon. I was going to put in some feta, I was going to put in some spinach, I had some cream, I had everything ready. And then I've gone to get the eggs out of the fridge and I thought, this feels a bit light. Anyway, that's okay. Yeah, so this study. Now, what it is, it's a study. I'm just going to put a little bit more of this hemp seed in because it just looks a little bit wet to me. It's probably not, but looks a little bit. So I've just put an extra sprinkle in. So yeah, this study, it was talked about on the radio, it was talked about in a lot of the media. And of course the headlines go something along the lines of, you know, carbs, eating extra carbs does not cause heart disease. Which, look, I don't think anyone's ever laid claim to the fact that it does. But what I was most pleased about was that on the radio, they had Sarah Azar, I think her surname is. She was one of the authors of the paper. She's actually a low-carb cardiologist, I think. Anyway, so the best thing about this study is that there is no, and this is what they really should have gone with, there is no associated cardiovascular risks with saturated fat in the diet of middle-aged women. And this is the thing, you've got to be really careful about nutritional studies. They are very specific. So this is middle-aged women. It's not young women, it's not old women, it was just middle-aged women who they followed for 15 years. So the other thing I'd be having a think about is 15 years ago, so 2006 or whatever that is. Every year since then, our rates of insulin resistance are increasing. Now, that's not to say people weren't insulin resistant back in 2006. Of course they were. But the rates in which they're doing that, the rates in which they're becoming insulin resistant are higher and higher. I'm just turning on my heady thing to heat up because I'm going to pan fry these. So this is meant to make 6. And this is what the mix looks like. I mean, you know, mixture never looks that great, does it? But I actually think it's going to be good. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the texture looks good. I guess I'll put a few in. I'm not using that stupid cast iron pan that I bought because it will definitely make them stick. And I'm not using my old chef's toolbox because it's got bits of black stuff flying off that will probably kill me. But I have got a chef's toolbox that I have hardly used, which is that giant square one. So that's going to become my fry pan. I'm just tidying up so I can move it over for you guys to watch. You know, because it's so exciting to watch me cook some things. Anyway, so back to this study. So what I love about it, and if you actually look on it, there's a few things that they've talked about. One is they actually they have not compared this study to people on very low carbohydrate diets because let's be honest, in 2005 there weren't many people doing it. So Sarah actually went to great pains to explain that. So it is not comparing women on, like their idea of a low carbohydrate diet is still sort of 35% of your energy intake from carbohydrates. Like, so you know, if you're roughly having 2100 calories a day, then 700 calories are coming from carbohydrate, which actually equates to about 175 grams of carbs. So it is not comparing a low carbohydrate diet in the way that we talk about a low carbohydrate diet. We talk about a low carbohydrate diet as, you know, anything under 80, probably 50, and then if you want to go lower, you're doing a ketogenic diet. That's quite different to somebody who's getting 35% of their carbs from carbohydrate, 35% of their calories from carbohydrates. So that's the first thing to note. The second thing to note is that it's what we call an observational study. I'm just getting, oh no, I've got one here. I was getting a knife to make the butter. So an observational study is merely that. They just observe it. It shows association, not causation. So causation is all about having a randomized double-blind controlled trial so that you can definitely say that something has caused something. So the thing I always love to talk about with association is this idea that if it's raining, well then we'll notice there's a lot of umbrellas around. So do umbrellas cause rain? Because that's what association is. Now obviously that's really obvious because we know they don't. Okay, and that's an easy one to disprove, but there's lots of other ones that come up with that. And now, having said that, if an association is really strong, like if it's a really high number, and it has to be more than 2.5 times, then you've got to good indication that it is likely to be causative or causative, and then you have to do your proper study. So that's the key, working out that an association doesn't mean it's not caused, but it certainly doesn't mean that it is. So anyway, so I actually thought that the study was great, even though I wasn't loving what the media sound bites were, because remember, let's be honest, media, they're looking for people to click, it's clickbait. So, you know, it's very exciting for them to go, oh my God, because there's always debate over carbs, isn't there? It's so exciting. They can have carbs, you know, carbs are the best way to lose weight, cut out your carbs 1 week, and then the next week they'll have, you know, carbs kill you. Now, I'm doing a patty. I actually hate making patties, I'm going to say it. I don't like it, but anyway. I said I'd do it, so here I am. So I'm just meant to make 6, so I reckon that looks pretty good. What do you reckon? I mean, it looks like a good patty, doesn't it? So I just put some butter in to pan fry it. I'm not putting on very high because I don't want to burn it on the outside and then have it raw on the inside, because I think that might be a bit gross. Raw egg and cold avo and ugh. So anyway, does anyone else feel a bit blurred doing patties? This is why I don't do them very often. But anyway, look at the sacrifices for you. So my loves, what I'm actually going to, I tried to look up the article today because I wanted to have a good read through it, but it's behind a paywall and I just didn't have time to do it. And you can either pay for the whole thing, which is quite expensive to get an article if you're not subscribed, or you could borrow it like in a library, and that was a bit cheaper. So I thought, well, I'm going to wait till I get some time to have a look at it. Or wait, even one of our people that we love is a woman in the UK called Zoe Harcum. Now, she's a fantastic, really fantastic, so she's got a PhD, she's a researcher person. So remember, research language is quite different to clinical language, and I don't like research. I don't, you know, Mary's much better at, oh, you put your gloves on. So the article, Monique, was saying that that saturated fats do not cause cardiovascular disease and neither do high carb diets. So, and I'm just saying why, that it was interesting because they had the lead, they had one of the authors on 774 this morning, and she was actually saying, well, she still wouldn't be recommending that people get their carbs from pasta and rice and bread. She basically was saying what we say, which is great. It's great to have your thing validated, which is that, you know, a low carbohydrate diet, as we keep saying, is not a no carbohydrate diet. There are carbs in here. I mean, there's hemp seed, there's onion, there's avocado, there's carbs in here. So she was saying, of course, about the type of carbs. Now, can you guys just bear with me while I go and wash off fish hands, because this is disgusting. Anyway, so I'm back. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. It seems to be, they're holding together. I was a bit worried I'd put them in and they'd fall apart, they'd either go flat or not. Do you think the family will notice the avocado in it? Well, you know, you could mush it up a bit more. I've left it as chunks because I'm a rustic cooker, but you could certainly mush it up a bit more, but it's not as hidden, say, as well hidden as like that, you know, chocolate mousse kind of hiding of avocado. So, yeah, I'll just leave that to do its thing. So, yeah, so that's basically the study. I will, yes, eek, but I'll give it, how big was your can of salmon? 400 grams. Yeah, 400 grams, Lee, or 415 or something. And I drained it, obviously, before, you didn't get to see that bit. But, you know, my prep consisted of opening the tin, draining it, and I had already grated the parmesan for my quiche that we're not having. I'm going to tell you, these are looking good. They're not falling apart at all. So I just got to be careful because, you know, I'm in a hurry. You know, when you get in a hurry, you want to turn it up and then you burn the bottom. So I don't want to do that. But I've just got it on medium, and I used butter, but you could use ghee. Certainly you could use ghee, but I'm not frying it very hot. As I said, I didn't want to, I don't want to have it burnt, you know, cooked on the outside and still raw on the inside. So, look, it stayed together, so if I'm turning it over. Okay, it needs a little bit longer. And I reckon I probably haven't mushed up the onion enough. Next time if I'm doing it, if I want to get my hands all goopy, if you've got a thermo, I'd probably put it in there because it did say minced. So you could probably make it all up actually in your thermo to mince it all up and make it much less, you know, much more homogeneous. Oh, who knew? I've got this again. So, just moving up here. So yeah, I think what I wanted to say, again, just a bit more about this study is, the media pisses me off. They have such a great opportunity to provide really unbiased data, but they don't. They provide clickbait. So if you're ever reading anything on any just standard Herald Sun-esque, then just ignore it, okay? Because it's going to be clickbait. The idea is to sell you stuff, not actually bring you credible information. Speaking of credible information, now you guys might be able to help me here. So we're redesigning our newsletter, and we're putting in credible information. We were thinking about getting it out on a Wednesday, but I want to put this cooking blog in it, so I don't know if Wednesday will work or whether it'll be Thursday. But we were trying to think of a catchy name for the newsletter. So my idea was keeping it real was one option, or get real, something to do with real life, really, and basically maybe we could call it real news. Anyone got any ideas? If you have, just pop them in the chat, and I can, if I don't see it straight away, I'll be able to see it later on. Okay, so far they're still all holding together. This is good. Oh, I'm going to say, so I don't know if you can see, I've just turned this one over. Can you see, trying to get the light on. You can see it in Insta. Doesn't that look nice? Like it's nice and thingy here. I'm just trying to get the light for your Facebook. Oh, there we go. Look at that, it's nice and golden. Nice and golden and held together. So far, so good. Now you could serve these with like an avocado, like a guacamole if you wanted to, if you haven't got enough avo in there. I'm thinking you could probably put some of the new mingle tomato sauce on it. I haven't tried that yet, but I've got it in my fridge. So maybe this is a good, in fact, this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna serve it because I've got another avo that needs to go. I'm just gonna serve it with the things I was gonna put in the frittata. So a bit of spinach, an avo, a little bit of feta. Or I've got some halloumi I might even try out for that. So there we go. Ah. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Like seriously, that's awesome. All right, this is definitely, well I haven't tasted it yet. I don't want to. Now, last week's lasagna, I'm going to tell you, it was a little bit sloppy at my end. So I would put in, I changed the recipe on the blog, no passata, just put in tomato paste. And then, but did I tell you that what I did was I recycled it. So my husband didn't really like it. And I think I told you, he's confessed to me that he hates mince. And I'm, really? I've been cooking mince for the last 3 years. So anyway, what I did was I got down to the last sort of bit. And I'm thinking, I can't serve this up again. But because it was still a bit, you know, sloppy, I pulled out the cabbage leaves and I just snipped them so they became like, you know, just slivers of cabbage. And I just cooked, and I just fried 4 eggs, or poached them, whatever it is. So I put it out of the lasagna dish, in fact this one that I was going to cook my frittata in. I put it out of that, stuck it in a pan, and put the 4 eggs in. I'll tell you what, he's going, oh, this is good. Oh, I like this one. So how good's that? Okay. should press them down. I didn't press them down. I don't, as I said, I don't cook patties very often, but I guess you could have. But they do, they look really good. I'm really happy with these. I'm just going to, I put them on high and then I turned it down to medium because I was a bit worried that they were going to, as I said, burn on the outside and be raw on the inside. I think that would be pretty gross. Handy having your kitchen all here. I mean, I don't actually, my stove's right up the other end where I gallivant up there sometimes, but just plates and knives and forks and all of that sort of stuff. So, my lovelies, we've got, like seriously, how good's that look? Plop on there, like that. That looks good, doesn't it? We'll put out one more. And then, some of that. Nice having ripe avocados that are ripe without being, you know, stupid. This one's not quite as right. I'm going to see if that trick works. So, did you watch it earlier? I was, you just press and the thing, you ready? Pops out. Ta-da! So that you don't chop your hand off. Now I'm just going to, do you all do this? So you just dice it inside. Get your spoon. Keep going along. Ta-da! Alright, there you go. Looks good. So salmon patties, we'll get a bit of mingle sauce on it, put a bit of thing in here and we're done. Good. Alright, lovelies, have a wonderful, wonderful week. As I said, any nutritional studies mentioned in the Herald Sun, particularly any health advice in the Sunday section of the paper, they're not trying to give you proper Sunday advice, health advice. They're giving you entertainment that will get you to read their stories and look on their ads. So my lovelies, final version: tin of red salmon, an avocado, 2 eggs, half a cup of parmesan, probably 3/4 of a cup of hemp seeds, some of my fave, ranch dressing from Mingle, and mix it all together. Make little patties, put it in a pan, and you're done. Beautiful. See you all next week, darlings. Bye now.